and welcome back to the Hindley Hall Herald podcast. We're now on episode 7 in the month of July. Can't believe we're 7 episodes in. So once again, joined by co-host Andy.
Evening.
And we're joined today by Di and Stuart Grant.
Hello.
Hello. So Stuart, as we know, looks after most of the competitions here at Hindley, does a great job facilitating everything that we play for every year. And Di, we are lucky to have Di today. She is the editor-in-chief of the original Herald, the newsletter that our members get their Hindley news from every week. So we've got Di, who's editor of the Hindley Herald, who's going to pick a few little highlights out for us and talk us through what's been happening. So, in a little change to what we normally do, we're going to start with the golf this time, rather than the course.
Stuart in at the deep end.
So we're going to chuck Stuart straight in at the deep end.
Very good.
And talk a little bit about the golf. So we're halfway through the season. The weather has been kind to us so far. We've got away with some thunderstorms that we've forecast on a couple of events, and we've managed to get everything played and everything in, I think. So
got away with Captain's Day, just about.
Yeah, and that's a good place to start with the Captain's Day, which was, am I right in saying that's the first men's board comp of the year?
It is, yeah, no, because it's a new board competition. Previously, it wasn't a board competition. Now it is. It's an unusual thing at Hindley that Captain's Day has never been at the top of the list. I don't know why that is. It just other clubs have a Captain's Weekend. They qualify for Captain's Day and things like that. But at Hindley, for some reason, it's just been a day where everyone plays golf and captain as I do. We're now got a board competition for the person with the best net, and I think that's right. I think it should be more of a day than that. You go to Ashton or Gathurst or clubs in Bolton and they have a weekend of competitions, and it is the main prize. And for some reason here it wasn't. So try and make it improve.
I think it was a really good day. We got everything played. It was a little touch and go with the weather.
It was a lot more than touch and go. I think one more shower and would have all been in, but luckily we didn't. So we got round, which was a bonus, because once it's all set up for the day, you've got the evening do. It's a big thing to call it off. It's a big decision, and it wasn't an easy decision to keep people playing. And there was a spell when it was bordering on unplayable. There's no doubt about that. But I think most people got round. There were some good scores.
There was.
And I think we just got it right, in my opinion.
The good thing is that they did lead to the 200 Club buying some squeeges.
Which have arrived.
Of course,
which have now arrived.
Yeah.
So that was exactly the event that led to the discussion that.
There you go. Yeah.
So if anybody's not familiar with what a squeegee is, if you watch it on TV and you see the open and the green start to get that little sheen of water on, it's a little gadget that will allow you to brush the water away off the green.
A foam roller.
Is that what we call it? A foam roller?
We'll call it that. We'll go posh.
Posh foam roller.
Well, because in this case, we faced with Michael Wayne and Andy Taylor with the back of a rake, doing a sterling job to the crack on. Doing a sterling job.
But it'll keep play going, won't it? When it's that borderline and we know it might clear up, it'll just get us through if we're at that point again.
Yeah, I don't think it's something for every Wednesday comp or every Saturday and Sunday, but if you've got something like the Ladies District, Captain's Day, whatever, then I think that it just gives you that little bit of a chance of keeping play going when you really don't want to call it off.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's hope we don't have that situation too often.
Yeah, good stuff. And the Captain's Day was preceded by the Captain's Disco at night, and we had quite a good turnout, didn't we?
We did. 85 people
in the end.
Supported the captain.
We did have a little panic because the DJ that we had booked, unfortunately, had all his gear stolen a couple of days before. So we had to come up with a solution, really. So we did manage to find a replacement DJ without actually telling anybody that there'd been a change. So that was a little bit of a call to captain to say, don't panic, but we haven't got a DJ. So it all came out right in the end, but it was a bit of a moment.
Lucky enough, captain was playing with Les, who got somebody to come under it.
Exactly.
So that was a big thank you there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so thanks to Les Edwardson for saving the day there.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we've had Captain's Day, and we've also had another board competition, the oldest one.
Yeah, we've had the Hewlett Cup, which, in my humble opinion, is the biggest competition of the year. It's 36-hole medal. You've got to be playing handicap 12 or under, so it means that a lot of the members can play in it if they've qualified. You've got to play well 3 times to win this. You've got to play well to qualify, and then you've got to play well over 36 holes. So, as I say, in my humble opinion, it is the most important thing you can win. I know if you win the Scratch Cup, that you're the best golfer, but the feel for the Scratch Cup is maybe smaller. But the Hewlett Cup, as I say, as Darren said, it's been going a long, long time. It's been won by all the people at Hindley Hall who's good golfers: John Dickinson, Bill Busby, Jeff McCandlish, people like that. That went off very well. Keith Stokes did a fantastic 65 in the second round to come from nowhere to win. A special mention to Darren Parr, who had his handicap cut for the Hewlett Cup because of the qualifying system, and yet lost out by 1. I think he might regret his 9 on the 10th hole for a long time, but there you go. He lost out by 1. It was very close altogether. You were up there, Darren, as well,
there was quite
you?
a few of us on the back 9. It was all within a chance.
And what we've done this thing where people play in leaderboard order. The people who play in that seem to really like it, and it means you're playing against your opponent and you can see what they're doing and that. So that was a good day, and I say it was a fantastic 65 from Keith in the second round.
And that playing in leaderboard order reverse, it gives it a bit more of a
100%.
feel to it, a bit more of an edge.
Yeah.
Absolutely, there was a lot of people watching the last couple of
they're
groups
doing
coming in.
well, what are they up to?
You'll have received an email that the Scratch Cup is going to go a little bit similar. It's more difficult with the Scratch Cup because the numbers at the moment are probably quite low, but the Scratch Cup is, for all I said what I said about the Hewlett Cup, if you're the Scratch Cup winner, you're probably the best golfer in the club for that year. You've got like John Dickinson won it numerous times. The club's best ever golfer, there's no doubt about that. So what we've done with this year is we're going after the second round of the Scratch Cup in leaderboard order again. So hopefully that might draw a bit of attention, a few people watching, and I think we'll try and get the captain to present that straight after as well. Since I started doing this, which is quite a while since now, I've always thought that the board competitions are not really highlighted as much as they could be. Going back years ago, you could play in the Hewlett Cup in the morning, or somebody could play in the afternoon, and you could play with your mate or whatever. Well, I don't think that's really right. A board competition is a special thing to win. This golf club doesn't have many board competitions, the smallest number of any club I know. So therefore, we should make an effort to make them special. And it just needs a little bit of organisation, which is not too difficult. And we want people who win a board competition to really appreciate the fact that they've got their name on the board. It's something to be proud of. You go up there, a lot of famous people from the golf club's history. And I say it just needs a little bit of organisation. But I know that the people who have won do appreciate that. And so we'll try to continue to do that in the future.
Very good. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've been to a couple of clubs recently. One, I was sat in a lounge and the whole walls from wall to wall was a board for a competition. So I think you're right. We don't have as many as others. So to make a bit of a special occasion out of them, I think is the right thing to do.
That's right, yeah.
So, but we have added the Captain's Day as a board competition. And one of the other newish ones is the John Dickinson board competition.
Yeah.
You mentioned his name a couple of minutes ago. So probably good to touch on that because we are recording towards the end of June. It'll go out in July, this podcast. But John Dickinson Trophy is coming up. And he is, as you quite rightly say, not only Hindley's greatest ever golfer, but a Lancashire legend as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the John Dickinson Trophy, well, it's been played for 30 years, really. But it was under the radar. He just played on one day. It was won or whatever. The results were never recorded for posterity. So last year, the year before, was the 30th anniversary of John's passing. So young John donated a brand new trophy. So at that time, the committee decided it should become a board competition going forward. So unfortunately, the people who won it previously don't have the names on the board, but from now on they will do. I mean, John Dickinson, for people who are new to the club, you'll see his name around, you'll see his name, pictures on the wall. He played for Lancashire 176 times, which is a record that probably never get beaten by anybody. He was an England selector. He won our Scratch Cup 16 times. He won the Scratch Cup on one occasion by shooting 128, which is 64-64, which there again, I'm sure that'll never get beaten. He held the course record of 63. The course was slightly different then, but also he had wooden woods and metal shafts, so his equipment was a bit different as well. So I think shooting 64-64 to win the Scratch Cup was a great achievement. We could go on all day about John. He was also a very nice guy, and he'd play with anybody. He had no edge to him. He had no airs and graces, and he was a wonderful golfer. So I think it's quite right that he should have a trophy named after him, because I'm quite sure that Hindley Hall will never have a player with a better record or a better player than that. So that is this weekend. That is a board competition that you can win in one day, which is unusual for Hindley, but it's got a very good reason for that. So I'm sure everybody trying their best on Saturday.
Well said, Stuart. I think that's summed up John Dickinson quite neatly there. I think, as you say, you could talk quite a long time about the man and the achievements he's done locally and everything else. But if anybody wants to know any more, young John is in the shop, and I'm sure he'd be quite happy to talk about his dad all day long.
He would. He's very proud, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. So following that, we've got the Scratch Cup coming up, as you mentioned. A slight change of format to that, so we'll go out in reverse order for the second round on the Sunday. Add a little bit more to the event, a bit more nerves actually coming down the last couple of holes, I'm sure, with everybody on the balcony, on the terrace watching. And we've also got a kind of spin-off event from that one. We're creating a little knockout amongst the top 8 qualifiers from all top 8 finishers from that, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. I mean, it's something we're trying this year to see how it goes, because until we try it, we won't know it's a success or not. But we're trying that. We're trying to make that into an event. As I say, we shall see, won't we?
Yeah. I think that's one of the good things about being at Hindley is there's all this heritage going back, and we're talking about things back to 1905, but we're not afraid to try something new as well. And if it doesn't work, we tried, and we won't do it again.
Exactly.
But I think it's good to see progression and trying something different.
I think the Scratch Cup will be quite interesting this year, because we haven't got anybody we haven't got Nick Gibbs lurking to come and win it and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think the field, although it might not be the lowest handicap field, I think we might have a field of quite a competitive field.
It's quite tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had a look through the handicap list earlier on when we were talking about it, and there's a lot between 2.1 to 4. Something like that. So I think it's quite a tight field this year.
I think if I was in that range, I think we can do 274. So I think that might be set a good target for somebody.
Yeah. And just some of the other board competitions we've got coming up. We're still qualifying for 2 more, which is the Salter
and the Clegg.
The Clegg.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about those two, probably because I've not qualified in the past. But
they're both quite long standing. Bill Clegg was a member. You'll see his name on the board. He put the Clegg Cup forward about 1930 something, and Salter was the local chemist. Simon Eaton's granddad.
So Salter's chemist is
and that's from the 1960s. Those are competitions that you qualify through from the year. We've now made those that when you qualify, you play together in a group of fellow finalists, because there again you could play at half 8 with your friend or half 2 with your friend who's not playing the same competition, and that didn't really seem fair to me. Where now you will play with somebody else who's in the same competition. Unfortunately, you can't do a leaderboard order because there's only one round.
Yeah.
There's also the Centenary Cup, which was presented in the Centenary 2005.
Yeah.
Which is a Saturday and Sunday Stableford aggregate comp. So you do 40 points on Saturday, 40 points on Sunday, 80 points that's your score for the weekend. So there again, it's following the Hindley tradition that you've got to play well more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a good day Saturday, have a good day Sunday. You can
240 points is decent.
240.
I'll say.
We'll
Yeah.
take 49.
I'll take 40 for 2 rounds. Yeah. So that's July.
Good stuff. And then finishing off kind of the men's season is the knockouts final day.
It is,
that we got coming up. Is that the first weekend in September?
Yes,
yeah. So we see that day, that Sunday afternoon, where we have all the finalists play together in the various competitions.
Yeah,
we make a day of that.
We do. All the finalists, both men and ladies, play in that, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes a clash because you get some music mixed foursomes, ladies singles, or things like that. But we try our best to play all the finals on Monday. There again, that's traditionally been a success, and the people who played it, and even I've played in that, believe it or not, and won once. It's something special to be playing when there's a few people watching. It is something special for amateur golfers like of our level. You know, that you're just not having a knock, you're playing for something, and there's people watching you, and it's nice when you win, and it's not the end of the world when you lose. And I've always felt, like I said before, when I've been doing this job, is that we need to make events out of things for people. People come here to play golf and enjoy the golf, but there's certain things that it's quite special to be involved in. And when you watch golf on TV, you see people picking up trophies and that kind of thing. Well, you can do it here in a small way, in a little way for us, and that's what we're trying to do, really.
Yeah.
Just make it enjoyable, and also be an honour to win something. Because I think it is an honour to have your name on the board. There's a lot of, like I said before, a lot of like people on there who's been good members of the golf club going back over 100 years, and to have your name amongst them, something special.
I totally agree with that. I will definitely not be getting my name on the Lee Pemberton men's single knockout this year, because I was in it in the final one year, but this year, having booked my match against Chris Makinson, didn't turn up. Forgot all about it and was sat eating KFC on the M5 on the way to Bristol when I realised where I should be. So, Chris, good luck in the next rounds. Sorry I didn't turn up, but there's always next year, isn't there? So, moving on a little bit away from Hindley, but still at Hindley, we've actually had some other events on recently, Di, that you had put through the Herald newsletter, and we
have indeed about. Yeah, I mean, we've just had the Ladies District Championship, which is similar to the Victory Trophy, albeit it has a different name, but covers the same clubs. So here we go: Ashton, Lee, Deanwood, Wigan, Hindley, Haydock Park, and Gathurst. So it's the same clubs. It's 36 holes, smaller teams. Really nice thing to be a part of, and a really good thing for Hindley to host. Done in rotation, just the same as the Victory Trophy. We have winners from Ashton, and Ashton won what we call the wardrobe door.
Yes, I've seen that. It does look like a wardrobe door.
And if you try and lift it up, it does feel like a wardrobe door. It's rather heavy. So Ashton won that. Haydock Park won the team net. And out of the individual prizes, Lady Captain Liz won the best second 18. So whilst we didn't win anything team-wise, it's really nice to have a home winner. And it's, the photos from the day were fabulous. We got away with the weather.
We did, yeah.
The weather threatened a little bit at times, but so a big tick to everybody involved in that. A lot of volunteers required.
Yeah, it was a really good day. It was a really good day. I volunteered on that, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching some golf around the 8th and 9th holes.
Including a 2 on the 8th.
Including a 2 on the 8th from about 50-yard pitching, which was superb. So, yeah, some really good golf played that day.
Good. We had the Lady Captain's Charity Open a few weeks ago, which was in aid of Daffodil's Dreams, Lady Captain's Charity, obviously. So that was a full field, shotgun start, afternoon tea afterwards. No Guinness.
Glass of wine?
There might have been. Always a really nice event in the club calendar, in Lady Captain's calendar as well. So that was another good day. Nice weather.
Fantastic. Good. We've also had Had the Lancashire boys as well. And Lancashire boys against Durham boys.
We did indeed. So we do seem to be featuring a little bit more on Lancashire radar at the minute, because we have got another match booked in for next year already.
Okay.
We've got the
Have
barrel. We have. Yeah, we have.
Right, okay.
I'll tell you the date later.
Just tell me the date. I'll put it down now.
Yeah. We've got the ladies seniors event for Lancashire, the Barrel Career, which is fully booked. That's towards the middle of July. But yeah, it's nice to host events like that.
Yeah.
I think it can sometimes be difficult for Lancashire to get clubs to host events because clearly you've got the disruption to members.
Yeah.
You know, if you can work members golf around the event, then that's fine. But it's not always possible to do that.
I think our members have been very good and really embraced
absolutely.
being able to showcase the course. And I think testament to Andy and the team for presenting it in great condition that Lancashire want to come back and see us again. So
we put a comp on the day of the Lancashire boys, didn't we?
Yeah.
We managed to put a comp on around it because we are aware of the fact that people paying the subs and they want to play in the middle of summer. So there's two sides to this story, but we tried our best to put members golf on at the same time.
I wonder if they're going to do that at Birkdale next year and put some of the members out in the middle of the Open just to
monthly medal.
Maybe not. Maybe for the monthly medal on a practice day for the Open.
No, but it's like with that match. Some of the lads you saw playing in that match, you'll see them again at a different level.
Absolutely,
you'll recognise some of the names.
We stood out and watched some of them, and they're hitting it into places. Even like 15 years old, they're hitting it into places that people are hitting the third shot from on the third hole, not the second. So,
yeah, indeed.
So great.
And likewise, they're making pars from daft places as well.
It was actually a really difficult day, wasn't it? The wind was all over the shop. In the first hole, they were actually well out of position on the first hole.
Yeah,
but they were still walking off at the par.
Yeah, I mean,
they were, weren't they?
One lad, I don't know whether he was Lancashire or Durham, he hit it on the ladies' 11th tee.
Yes, he did.
With his second shot.
Yes, he did.
And got up and down.
Yeah, he did.
He knocked it to about 3 foot and boxed the putt.
Yeah, he did.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference. So that's pretty much most of the golf covered, and we've got again, we're recording this in June, so it's going to go out around Open Week in July. But just before that, we've got the men's Victory Trophy, which is coming up, and it's hosted by Haydock.
Yeah, it's hosted by Haydock Park on the 5th of July. It's a big event, the Victory Trophy.
I think, Stuart, when I first joined here, you said to me about the Victory Trophy. It's probably the biggest thing that you can play in this area if you're a golfer.
I think so. I
mean,
mean,
I'd agree with that.
Quite honestly, I mean, we are sponsors of the Bolton Championship, and the Bolton Championship is a great event, and it's well run, very well run, isn't it?
It is.
The difference is that in the Bolton Championship, you're playing for yourself, to try and show you the best golfer in Bolton. The Victory Trophy is very much a team event, and you're playing for your club. There is an individual prize, which is the Victory Trophy, and everyone's trying to win that. But also the team prizes are very, very important, and playing for your team is something you don't do in golf that often. And in the Victory Trophy, 36 holes medal, it's a tough day, because when you start off playing, most people are not going to win it, but you've got to try and get it round in the best possible score you can get it round. There's a great big scoreboard when you come off, just to embarrass you when you've shot 96. So there's no hiding place, and people are walking around, look at this, thinking, "Great, how bad's he played?" and all that. So I think it's the biggest thing that an amateur golfer at this club can play in, representing the club.
Yeah.
There again, lucky enough, I played it at a time or two, and I've really enjoyed it once I got to the first tee nerves, because that is a moment when you stand on the first tee and they say, representing Hindley Hall, Stuart Grant. You try hold your golf club. It's not easy when there's about 40 or 50 watching, but it's a great thing to be involved in. And as Darren said, I said that to him, it's a great day to play in, and it's a great day, isn't it, generally?
It is, yeah.
You see
Always
the same
some
faces for the
spectators.
clubs. You see lots of friends there, to be honest with you. It's a nice environment to play in, and everyone's like sort of willing their team on.
Yeah, it's really. I've enjoyed the three that I played so far. Third this year, I think I'll have played. The first one was at Wigan, and we were lucky enough to win the the Hulbert Powell,
Yeah.
the Hulbert
that's
Powell
right.
Trophy, which is the net team
Mhm.
trophy. I think we won that by quite a few
I
strokes.
think we won it by a
I
couple
do
of
remember
miles,
looking at you and Paul Cotton staring at the leaderboard, working out any mathematical way we could lose,
It was,
and there wasn't.
it was,
But we were lucky that day. We all played pretty well in tough
did.
conditions,
we did,
and it was a very good day.
I mean, this year we'll probably have the highest handicapped team in the event because we've not got any light scratch or plus men. But we've got a very competitive team, so we ain't going to win the best gross, I don't think. But we could easily win the best net. We've got players who play week in, week out in team matches off 7, 8, 9 handicap who can hold their own in any company. So I'm quite, optimistic we might win the best net. And in the end, the Victor Trophy actually is a net competition, even though the best gross would seem to be the most sort of prestigious thing. It is a net competition. And as I said, with the players that we've got, if we have a good day, I think we could take some shifting, to be quite honest. Hopefully.
No pressure.
No pressure. Well, I played a practice round at Haydock last week, and it's in Great Nick at the moment. So I think we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a good course. It's one of my favourite courses, so I'm looking forward to the day, even though I'll be walking around eating burgers and what have you.
Yeah. Also in Great Nick is our own course, Andy. So
Smooth
I think
move.
smooth section there. So I think it's time just for you to give us your little update. I know there's not as much this month course-wise because it's in good nick. We're all playing it. We're all enjoying golf, and luckily we've had no stoppages, and we're just in the middle of our golf season now.
Yeah, and what are we? Well, 3 weeks really since we last recorded.
Yeah.
The last one, I've got a holiday planned, so hence why we're not recording next week or the week after.
To be fair, so have I got a holiday planned, so I won't be around either.
So
All
right, okay.
So we're squeezing it in now, but yeah, to get down to the facts and figures, rainfall were 22nd or 23rd of June today. 24th. All right, there we go. 24th. So rainfall for June so far has been 57 mil, and last year in 2024 it was 66 mil. So looking at the forecast, I sort of envisage us being in and around the same sort of figure. Nothing really different or anything to shout home about. High temp this year has been 28.8.
Scorcher.
Which was last Friday, we're now Tuesday. It was the Friday before. And in 2024 it was 22.6. So we're
global warming's kicking in Hindley.
6 degrees warmer this year, or high.
Yeah.
And then lows was 7.2 this month and 5 last year.
Okay.
And then again, we're about the same on evapotranspiration. We've lost 86.2 out so far, which then gives us a deficit of 29.2. And last year we'd lost 90.8, which gave us a deficit of 24.3. So we're in and around the same, and you could tell last week, we hadn't irrigated for a week or two.
Yeah.
Because the weather did change. But then at the end of last week, you could see it starting to dry out. We had a very dry week last week, and some of the fairways started to just get that tinge of brown again. They'd not fully come back green from the first dry spell, and they were starting to come, and then they just started to tail off again, and that tinge of brown. But
nice
the
to
water
see
was
that,
on.
though,
Yeah, it is. It's summer
yeah,
golf,
it's
isn't it?
proper-
Summer golf. I think it's summer golf.
Yeah.
The brown humps and that kind of green.
Summer golf.
It is.
Yeah, it's good to see. So that's the roundup on figures, really. Nothing to shout home about. I did say in the last podcast we was having an LPA visit, which was local planning authority visit on the 19th, which was last Thursday. That went ahead as planned, and we've had a good response verbally from them. We should receive written confirmation and pointers on stuff that we will have to do or that won't get passed.
Yeah.
But in general, it was a very positive one. And then literally an hour ago, we've had a Teams on this telly with the architect, just to talk over a few bits and pieces. So he's going to do some work on that, combined with what comes back in the write-up from the LPA visit, and then we can sort of then start to publish more finer detail on what things are going to look like, and sort of really put a bit more of a time frame on it. You know, we kind of feel we're probably at this moment in time a couple of months ahead of where we wanted to be, which is great. So let's try to keep that momentum going and push us forward. But really, nothing's going to happen now for a couple of weeks until we get the written confirmation back from.
Yeah, it's still good to give people watching this a bit of an update, even if there isn't an awful lot to say.
Yeah, even if there's no update, it's nice to say there's no update. Yeah, so that's sort of been going on in the background. And then I think I touched on it in the last podcast that Tees had burned off and we're going to burn off. We don't have irrigation to Tees at this moment in time. So some of the Tees have suffered, some have come back great. So this morning, the team's been out with solid tie and top dress overseeded Tees, or certain parts of Tees that have dried off and burned off and what have you. So that's been happening. Some more will happen tomorrow. Yeah. And then lastly from me, really want to just put in your diary and remember is Monday the 21st of July is going to be greens maintenance. It's not going to be very invasive, but except a huge thunderstorm or a complete washout, we will be doing some sort of greens maintenance, which will then put us in good shape for the weekend's golf, which is the following Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. So that's me. It's a quick roundup.
Yeah, I think with the Tees as well, I know there's no irrigation, but they have had a bit of a beating recently with all the competitions that we've had.
Yeah, they have.
From the men's board competitions to Lancashire boys, everything's added to a lot of wear and tear on the back end of the Tees.
Yeah, and it's all been plate golf really. It's all been back of the tee, full course yardage golf. You know, and I know I've said this before. Me and Stuart's discussed it. You know, but with the rules of golf as they are, you're better off with wide tees and not long tees.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you're restricted to that 10-yard movement. Well, you'd sooner have a 30-yard wide tee than a 30-yard long tee.
We've got to make a long thin tees and not enough wide tees.
We need short wide, not long.
And that's something what it is. We've got, and what Andy's saying is that because we now have a yellow tee comp on a Wednesday, which has got to be played from near the yellow plate, and we've had quite a few Hewlett Cup, Captain's Day, Lancashire boys off the back whites. The first hole, for instance, it's sort of, 4 yards wide at the back, and like 200 people teed off from it in no time at all.
And it's a curiosity that we found a few years ago, isn't it, when we put new tee plates out, that we hadn't noticed every yellow marker or yardage plate is 5 yards in front of the white one. Every one.
Yeah.
So in effect, a white tee could be.
A white tee could be in front of the yellow tee.
In front of the yellow tee, but then that area is getting double play. If we've got a yellow tee comp and a white tee, you could be teeing off from the same area.
The yellow course was set up really as a paper exercise, and I think you just knocked 5 yards off all the whites because it's only recently that yellow tee competitions have come into play since World Handicapping, and since we decided that on a Wednesday particularly we'd let people play off the front tee on number 9 because a lot of our older men can't get over on the knife from the back tee, which we fully understand. But if we're going to a yellow tee competition, it's got to be under the rules. And as Andy said there, we hadn't really noticed that when you put the plates in, on probably 16 of the 18 holes, they're just 5 yards in front of the white ones.
Yeah.
So like number 2 and number 9, what's a different tee altogether? So the same bit of grass is getting a battering all the time. And if you think about our tees, like the 12th tee, the front half of the 12th tee never ever gets used, and it's lovely grass tee because basically there's no reason to play there.
Yeah, it's the wanting to, or correct me if I'm wrong, but world handicapping that you can input a score at any time, isn't it? So therefore, a course has to be set up for
You've got to allow somebody to put
Yeah, it's got to be
handicap
accessible
counting.
for
but
handicap.
they've got to play from the plate or course.
Yeah.
So they're encouraging more and more golf from the plaques or plates or stuff, whatever you call it. And we're in a situation where we've got probably half the tees that you don't want that really because they're playing from the back. So that and a few moles, like on the
Let's not touch that. Let's not touch.
It make look at the tees quite hard work, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the fourth tee, which is a wide tee, has had a plague of moles under it.
Yeah,
So
we've suffered, and
we've suffered quite badly from that.
You know, again, I said this a lot, and I do it a lot. Don't tell Dave, but we'll be levelling and relaying that fourth tee at the Monday after finals day on the Sunday.
September.
Yeah, like we did on the 13th. That will be happening on the 4th. So don't tell Dave. I'll let him see the invites.
He won't be watching. He'll be all right.
Well, didn't you have 10 traps out at one stage?
Yeah.
10 mole traps out.
Yeah, and I think I'm the worst mole catcher in the world.
Oh. So
I honestly
As in,
believe
you're
that.
not catching many.
I don't catch many. No. I'm hopeless at it.
I'm seeing a Caddyshack moment.
Yeah, I'm hopeless at it.
So one of our biggest tees gets attacked by a plague of moles.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting on the yellow tees because as a course racer, it's unusual to see yellows and whites so close together.
Yeah.
You know, on older courses, but newer courses, because there's such a demand for a shorter course than your traditional whites, if you like.
Yeah.
There is more of a movement to think about where your forward tees, where your yellow tees are placed to give a different experience.
It's almost
Just
like
mention
like we should have another measured course, a green course that is for like green course, blue course. I don't know what the colours are relevant into, but that golf can be played
the yellow
from.
course at the minute,
And then a yellow course is safe for
well,
a Wednesday comp.
Like it is strictly, I mean, off the top of my head, I bet 16 out of 18 are just 5 years in front of whites.
Yeah.
And that's no one's fault. It's just that because the yellow markers were never used for competition golf. So they could be anywhere. Really, it was like just a number.
Tea of the day.
It was just a number.
It was a number and a look on the plate at the stroke index of the hole, and
then we
you know
all
where
18
you went.
plates, we're all 5 years short. So apart from number 2 and number 9. And the idea of the LT competition is particularly with the 9th is that, off the back tee or the front tee, it does make a big difference to the clearance. And we want people to be enjoying the golf. So a yellow tee competition on a Wednesday, which it almost is now, and you look at the take-up, there's a lot more of the more senior people who play, and that's a reason. And I think we understand that.
You're talking about the colours of the tees there, and I played lucky enough to play Parkstone down in Dorset a couple of weeks ago, and they don't have colours, they have numbers. And the numbers represent the total yardage of the course. So I think the total yardage is 6,900 and something. So the back, because we will call them whites, or some clubs call them black, they're the 69 plates. And then forward is the 64 plates, and then the 61 plates. So it's a 61 course that you're playing.
Right.
And it works quite well. It's quite, it's a little bit more inclusive than saying, I'm playing the forward tees and they might be red.
Yeah.
And when I was at Swinton Park, we removed the colour red and replaced them with orange, just so that we could rate a course from the red tees that the men could play without it being red.
Yeah.
Probably a topic for another pod, that one.
Definitely.
We'll get that a wide berth for now, but
it is the way forward to change that perception.
It is, absolutely. Which you mentioned something there, we'll finish off shortly, but just to bring in another role that you do within the local community in Lancashire Golf is you're one of the course raters.
Indeed, for my sins.
Very quickly for our members, what does that entail? What's your tasks there?
So we manually visit a course and work round and take measurements and statistics at specific shot lengths for your scratch player and your bogey player, and collate all the data, and we come up basically with a course rating, which is your standard scratching holes.
It's equivalent to the standard scratch.
So you're 69 or 72 or whatever. So that's the difficulty of the course. And then we produce a slope rating, which is how many more shots your bogey player needs to your scratch player. So the difficulty of the course isn't your slope rating, it's your course rating. Yeah, I found that conversation quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's quite an important thing to be. People think that because a course is slope rating 141 or it's 121, that the 141 course is harder. It's not necessarily harder. No. It's just a bigger difference between the scratch player and the bogey player.
Yeah, one thing we do quite often find is you talk about whites and yellows in all money. Quite often the yellows will rate harder than the whites.
Yeah.
Just depending where your obstacles and your bunkers and such like come into play. So that's not unusual at all.
So when I played at a course many years ago, Swinton Park in Manchester, it's closed down now, sadly. But as I say, we changed the colour of the tees. So the red tees, which is traditionally known as the ladies' tee, the women's tee, we changed it to orange, and it was rated for men. It was a far harder course off the orange because the par fives became long par fours.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the way people perceive it. There's a lot that goes into rating the course.
Yeah. And I think you've said to me before that like you look at 200 yards off the tee and how wide that fairway is at that point.
Yeah.
And then that gives a relativity. I don't even know the word for it, but it gives a degree of difficulty then, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we have a number of landing zones that we look at, depending on your standard scratch female, scratch male, bogey female, bogey male, and then we see what's in what we call the landing zone. So how wide the fairway is. So if it's like football field type width, then the degree of difficulty is reduced. If it's very narrow, then that can affect the rating. Or the bunkers in the area, is there a ditch that might catch you out? So all sorts of different criteria. We're talking about the spread of the ball as well. So whilst your model player plays down the middle, we appreciate that there is spread in terms
dispersion
of dispersion is the word. Thank you. So it's quite an interesting thing to do. It's quite detailed, and it's not for everybody, but it's quite.
Well, I tell you what,
quite interesting.
World Handicapping has been around for 5 years on the 2nd of November this year.
Indeed.
I can see a special pod talking about this, everybody's favourite subject.
That could be opinions. That could be an
on world handicapping, but it's 5 years. It was implemented.
I remember
right in the middle, really, of COVID. It was never an ideal time to go ahead with that.
It wasn't for us because as course raters, we had to have every course rated, either physically rated or with what we call a paper rating by that date. So once upon a time when we did the ratings, we'd just have done it in sunshine. And if it was a bad day, we'd have rearranged.
Yeah.
But with that deadline looming, we had to go out in literally whatever weather. We worked on paper in those days. You had to do the rating. There was a lot of pressure on to do it.
I think we'll delve into this in the winter months. It'll keep us going for something to talk about. Fantastic.
I think just on that, sort of like, is I don't think people realise that all this work is done by volunteers.
Yeah.
And the golfing authorities or whatever have brought all this sort of system in. But Lancashire, which is the second biggest golf county in England, as regards courses, has had to find volunteers to go and do this work. And if they hadn't got none, it couldn't have got done, could it?
No, and it isn't easy. You know what it's like. It's not easy to find volunteers, but the amount of time that you have to give for things like, if you're rules reps or if you're course raters, it's a big commitment on time, and it is seriously getting harder to find people.
And it's not just time doing that, is it? Actually being on site doing it. You might travel an hour and a half.
Oh
yeah.
And
then you've got your rating to do, and then you've got to input that data that you've collected into the model, into the system, and like I said, the prep before looking at the course and receiving your information back from the club. I know when you rated here with the team, I got a sheet of paper on
Yeah.
what's your average
questionnaire,
green
yeah.
speed, what's your green height in summer, in winter, what height do you cut tees, fairways, rough, further afield, etc., etc. So that all becomes involved in giving the ratings.
It does, indeed. Yeah, yeah. Two main aspects that determine a rating, which are the pain for every time I've said this, are the actual length of the course and the cut rough height. The rest we do is probably 15-20% of the rating. Well, those two factors alone are your main determinants on your course rating and your sub.
Right.
There you go.
We will revisit this.
Indeed.
That's food for
At,
thought.
at another time.
I'm not being involved with that.
We'll get somebody else in. But I think for now, we're going to wrap this pod up. But as we're still in the middle of the men's major season, we're coming to the last major of the year. And I'm pretty much through a pint of Guinness now. So I think it is time to wrap us up. But Andy and I have had no success at all in predicting the major men's winners this year. So we're going to throw it out to start with to our two guests, and it's always ladies first.
Well,
because you're keeping it classy with the glass of wine.
I've got to go with Fleetwood, if only because he didn't quite do it at the Travellers.
Damn, you've just stolen mine.
I was hoping that was the case.
Damn.
Well, I'm not going to say who will win. I hope Rory wins. I think it'd be a lovely story for him to win it in Northern Ireland. I can't say I fancy him or I don't fancy him, but I'd like him to win. I think it'd be lovely. So,
showed a bit more form this week. I think he's getting back there now after the highs and
I think
and then the down.
It'll be fantastic for him to win, because I think when he played there last time, he was almost under too much pressure.
Yeah,
and he put out the bounce on first hole.
He did, yeah.
Oh my god!
Had a great second round though.
Yeah,
He almost made
it. Yeah, so I would like him to win. Whether he does or whether he doesn't, time will tell. But we're going to watch it.
We are indeed.
You lucky people are have to put
Well,
Russia
about
here.
lucky people. We're spending the night in bloody Ballymena.
Let's not go there. It'll be all right.
Been petrol bombs. Anyway,
Well, maybe not. Andy.
I'm sticking. I'm Xander again.
Okay. You're sticking with Xander.
Yeah, I
no
really
form
like
at all
it.
this year.
I don't care.
None.
Don't care.
Is that third time?
Yeah.
Third time.
He has to find it at some point, don't he?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'm going to go with Tyrrell Hatton. I just think he's got it in him, and it's about his time. Because I'm not having Jordan Spieth again, because he's not going to win.
good.
No, he's gone.
He's gone, hasn't he?
He's a has-been.
Not going to win. So I think fiery Tyrrell is going to ignite the Northern Irish fans, and he might win.
Well, we'll see.
So there we go. And that's it for another podcast, episode 7 done, and we'll be back next month in August for other things to talk about. So
You can talk
thanks
about fairway mats on that car thing.
No, we're far too early.
Ropes and stakes.
No.
Preferred lines.
Traffic management, no, we're nowhere near that yet. Sun's still shining. So for this episode, Andy, again, thanks.
No, thank you.
Good. And to our two guests, Di and Stuart, thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next time.
See you all soon.